Geek podcast. Today is Wednesday, February 17th, and half your host here, Adam, joined by...
Logan. Hello. Sorry.
No, you're good. No, you're good, man. So how's your week been going?
It's been a week.
It's been a week, man. Has it? Oh my God, it's been quite a week. So what have you been up to? Tell me what you've been up to.
Not a tremendous amount besides work. Picked up the newest Naruto game. We'll talk about that later.
Oh, cool.
And I know we had a book to read, but I made a mistake. I picked up the cast recording for Hamilton, and I cannot stop listening to it.
That's okay.
So that's been my last few days of just having this thing on repeat over and over and over again.
Wait, so the cast of Hamilton, tell me about that.
Hamilton is a Broadway play, and it's based on a biography of Alexander Hamilton. And I am trying to find because I had forgotten the name of the guy who did the music and everything for it. He's won a couple different Tonys. He won one for, what was it, on the Heights, I think, and he did some work with a couple others. Lin-Manuel Miranda is his name, and they just won a Grammy for it the other night. And his stuff, it's hip hop Hamilton, basically,
Okay.
and it works. It seriously works, and it's catchy as hell. And it'll teach you something. They should use it in schools. I'm serious.
Oh, nice. Yeah, no, I remember. I didn't watch the Grammys, but the video was on Facebook of them.
Yeah, any award he's ever won, he raps his acceptance speech.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay.
Yeah, and it's more hip hop than it is rap, if that makes sense to all my fellow white people out there. Like, it's really well done, and it is, man. It is so damn catchy.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's cool. Man. So it's more Kendrick Lamar than it is Lil Wayne.
Exactly.
Yeah. So no, that's awesome, dude. Yeah, I'll check that out. So it's like, okay, so is it a book about it, or it's the actual Broadway play?
It's the actual play. Yeah, a lot of Broadway musicals will put out an album of the cast recording.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, some of them don't. Like there are a few that I haven't found, but most of them are available. Was it on Broadway Records? I think is the actual label. But,
I want to see the Mormon one, the Book of Mormon, the South Park one.
That's another one that has the cast album out, and oh man, you got to listen to it. Yeah. Oh, it's killer. It's absolutely killer. Yeah, Matt and Trey just nailed it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I want to check that one out. I haven't been up to much. I had a buddy in town, so I've kind of been out all weekend. And I saw Deadpool, so I know you did too.
Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about that.
Yeah, we'll get into that. I'm trying to think I haven't really played much. I played a little bit of The Old Republic. I'm trying to think what games I played. I have Firewatch, Unravel. Ooh. I don't know if I talked about that last week.
No,
Okay, so I haven't played any of Firewatch. I want to sit down on my day off and just soak it up.
Yeah, that's another one that's definitely on my list, because that one just looked cool.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's like $17 on the store.
Oh, nice.
And it's and I mean, apparently it's a 5-hour game. It's just a experience, and and that's it. So but it's got really good reviews, and so I really dig those. Like, I don't have to put 50 hours into this to enjoy a good story. It's like I can put 5 hours into it and immerse myself, and that's cool. Absolutely. Sometimes I've spent more money at 7-Eleven or Taco Bell.
Exactly.
So, yeah, it's the price of a movie, pretty much. So, you go and buy a DVD. But yeah, so yeah, but I played Unravel. Have you heard of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Yarny guy.
I didn't know it was out yet.
Yep, they both came out the same day, and I picked them up,
Huh.
and they're both same price. So I was like, okay, this is cool. It's a platformer, but I'll get into all that in a little bit when we get in the games. But that's pretty much what I've been doing. Just not much. But yeah, so um, but yeah, man. So we got a lot of news this week. It seemed like everything dropped the day the day after we recorded.
Right? It ain't that always the way?
Yep. Oh yeah.
Seriously, like.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
uh,
Like huge things. It was all day long. I was like, okay, well, we'll put that in the notes for next week.
uh-huh.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah. So I mean, let's get in. Let's get started. We got some Star Wars news. We got Han Solo production for the standalone Han Solo film reportedly is now underway.
Yeah, during I forget if it was an investor call. There were a lot of investor calls this week. I guess the quarter ended or something was going on. I don't know, because that's where we got a lot of news this week. But
Yeah.
I think it was Bob Iger that said, "Oh yeah, they started production on that already." It's
Oh
not
yeah.
like it started today. It was like they've been working on it, which is
Yeah.
interesting.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's their Disney's big ticket right now. Marvel and Star Wars.
Oh
That's
yeah.
They are just feeding it to us, and I think it's good. I mean, one film a year. You think about it, we get Marvel, we get 2 or 3 a year. We get spoiled. Star Wars, give us one a year. Give it at Christmas time. Make it a tradition. If you make the holidays just known for Star Wars, and it absolutely could be,
You will own Christmas.
you will own Christmas. You own the presents. I mean, this year I got more Star Wars stuff than ever from people that know me, because they're like, Adam would love this. I'm super easy, and the little things or whatnot. It's perfect. I want to associate Christmas time with Star Wars, and I think they do too. I mean, it's a way you can take your families to go see it and whatnot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But yeah, so that's cool. I'm gonna jump real fast to kind of stay in the same wheelhouse here.
Okay.
Did you see the short Star Wars clip that they showed announcing that they are now shooting Episode 8?
Yeah, so I'll say that's cool.
Yeah, that was absolutely cool. I love just this. We still have not heard a word
No.
from Luke Skywalker. What if he just doesn't talk the entire time? Or what if he's so serious and suddenly he busts out into that Mark Hamill voice, when he gets excited?
I want to see outtakes for Episode 8, because I'm already thinking like 3 years down the road to a Blu-ray release, where we get Mark Hamill in the middle of some grand speech, some big emotional thing, and it's one take where he finally just decides to do it as the Joker.
Right, exactly.
Like
Oh yeah.
that's gotta happen at least once.
Well, see, that's the thing. Mark Hamill, and anyone who knows, listen to his podcast, listen to just anything he does. He loves to talk, and it's like they Wolverine origin Deadpooled him in these films, because he just hasn't said a word. Yeah. But man, yeah, it's been fun. But it was a cool little clip, and it was just them, cut, So that's really all it was. It was just a little teaser showing that island. Man, it just it gets you excited again.
Right? Did you see who they added to the cast?
No, I didn't. Tell me.
Oh, they added. Hang on, I gotta grab the list here. They added someone who is essentially brand new.
Okay, she was like in YouTube clips, right?
Yeah, Kelly Marie Tran.
Okay.
She was in a couple episodes of About a Boy.
Okay.
That was like the only IMDb credit I think she had.
Okay.
They've added Laura Dern.
Okay.
In case anybody can't remember, she was Dr. Sattler in Jurassic Park.
Yep, I saw that picture. I was like, that is awesome.
And Benicio del Toro.
Oh, that's perfect.
I don't care who he's playing. I really don't. Just anybody. I do not care.
Yeah, I mean, my hopes is it's like Thrawn or something like that, but we'll see. I think it's going to be like an Imperial. I think it's going to be like just a high up Imperial person,
an officer of some kind, or a
Right.
Moff or something. Totally.
Exactly. Yeah. And that'd be cool. Even if he goes the opposite in the spectrum and he's like some Sith thingy or whatever, he could pull that off so easily
Yeah.
too.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, man. I can't I can't wait. Um I'm not sure if there's a we'll get to more if there was later down in the list, but go ahead and take this next one.
Yeah, over at Sega, their CEO Hajime Satomi has announced that they are partnering with Sony Pictures to do a hybrid live-action animation Sonic the Hedgehog film, like a full like big feature, not like a straight to digital kind of thing, but like a whole like we're gonna put this in theaters film, and they're shooting for a 2018 release.
How is that?
You know, I go for it. Why not?
Yeah. Yeah. A live action Sonic the Hedgehog film.
Well, a hybrid. I mean, obviously Sonic will be CGI. Like that's a given.
Yeah, I'm getting like a weird, just like human, like formed, but Sonic, like blue. I don't know. I'm just seeing. Oh, it just doesn't look right. But yeah, that'd be funny. But
Uh,
yeah, no, that's okay. You know, Sega's still holding on. Let's see what
I
else
would
we
settle
got.
for them making an actual Sonic game. You know,
Yeah, a good one.
we haven't really had a halfway decent one since Generations. So
Well, it seems like every year they're like, this is the Sonic you've been waiting for
and
to get
it's
you back into the series. Right.
and they're wrong every single time.
They are. I mean, I haven't been interested in Sonic since Sonic 3, or it's like Sonic and Knuckles, really. I mean, maybe, you know, I look that way, but when you sit down and you think about it, at least that was the highlight for me. That was the peak for me,
Fair
you know.
enough.
And I was an idiot. I even bought like the BioWare one
Oh God.
RPG for the the 2DS or whatnot,
Yeah.
or not the 2DS, the DS. Yeah, it wasn't. I was like, oh, like, nope, it was garbage.
Yeah. It was bad.
Yeah, yeah. We got some Battlestar Galactica news. Michael DeLuca, this from Social Network, looking to produce film based on series with Universal Pictures.
Yeah, they're trying to do some kind of. And now I imagine it'll be another reboot or something
No.
else. It's not going to be the same people. It's
Well,
not going
see,
to be.
here's the thing. I'll accept you're telling a new story. Um, don't tell me the same story that I just saw a few years ago.
Fair enough.
That's a little too close. Tell it in the same universe, have the same kind of characters, but it's got to be different in some way. There's got to be a different. I don't want to see a rehash of all of those seasons try to be put into a film because that's not going to be entertaining. The whole time I'm going to go, nope, the series was better.
Right.
It's like if they were like, guys, guess what? We're gonna do Lord of the Rings next year. It's like, wait a second, that's too soon to go back to the whale or
Yeah.
yeah. But if it was like if it was done like how they did Star Trek, perfect.
Fair
You
enough.
know, yeah. Do it if you're gonna reboot it. Do it sort of something like that. You know, I don't know, a multiverse Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, great.
Yeah. This news was really cool. I was so happy when I saw this. But Wolverine 3, Fox anticipates a rated R rating for the upcoming film.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they saw. I have to imagine they were gun shy about it, and then they saw Deadpool did, just blew everything away in
Right.
terms of an R-rated superhero film, and they looked at it and they went, well, hell, if that'll work with somebody who we've never actually had on film before, and there's one guy in the back, what about it that one? And they threw him out the window. Um, they said, with something like Wolverine, which is a known quantity and people love, let's go for it. Why not? It'll work.
Right.
It's going to be rough and brutal. And now, they were talking about earlier, it was going to be based on the Old Man Logan story. And the reaction was, well, that's kind of cool, but if it's going to be like PG-13-ish, it's going to lose some of the grit and the kind of nastiness that goes along with that. And now I'm not so worried anymore.
Right. Exactly. This is when we'll get into Deadpool in a little bit, but when it came out, and this is a double-edged sword though. I think it would work perfectly for Wolverine because we've been screaming for a Wolverine rated R. The thing is that the problem is Deadpool came out of the gate rated R. Wolverine came out of the gate, kids love him. So that's going to be a hard one to swallow. That's gonna ruffle some feathers for some parents, some families, understandably, but people are still gonna go see it in droves.
Well, Wolverine's first appearance in the first X-Men movie was 16 years ago.
Right, right, right. But
That
still, Wolverine is just like Spider-Man, just like Luke
no,
Skywalker.
no, no,
Absolutely,
no,
absolutely.
no,
Well, let me finish
no.
what I'm comparing it. Is I'm saying that it's generational. You have kids that like Spider-Man for generations. That's why they try and keep it family friendly. Same with Wolverine. Same with Luke Skywalker. It's something that you can pass down to your kids for them to be interested in them as well, while you will grow up and you'll still have an affection for it. You might still be in love with it. You might grow out of it, but it's something that comic books is what I'm saying is comic books are kind of like Star Wars, which is kind of like that kind of, once you're in that world and then you try to go to rated R, that's the only time where I think you might get a little bit of, well, hey, wait a second, I still want to take my kid to see this. Where Deadpool came out of the gate cussing, swearing, rude as can be, don't take your kid to go see this. That's all I'm saying. Like, that's going to be the big difference.
Well, and the thing is, rated R is a broad field. You don't have to have language in a rated R movie.
Oh, no, I don't think it's going to be like
Yeah.
Deadpool. I'm just saying.
I get where you're going. Like, this is a character that has roots in its own continuity. It's been around for a while. And I get that. I understand where you're going with the whole, younger people have taken to this kind of thing. But I
Right.
think Wolverine is an interesting exception because we already had the standalone movie that didn't tie into the continuity. And I think he's kind of freed from that. You don't have to go see it. You couldn't do it with Marvel. You couldn't have a standalone, like if they decided to do a Punisher movie, it wouldn't work because all of the movies intricately tie into each other. And you can't go from Guardians to Ant-Man to the Punisher. You couldn't do that. That wouldn't work. But with Wolverine being kind of on his own and not tied into the real bread and butter from Fox's perspective, which is the big ensemble movies, the actual X-Men movies, I think you can get away with that.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I still think they have a mountain to climb with him, because it's just he's the head of the franchise. He is the monarch of Fox's movies, and that's the only problem I see. Believe me, I absolutely want to rated R Wolverine. Like that when I heard that news, perfect. It's just my first thought after that was that's going to be hard because Deadpool, you can say no, don't take your kids to this. You can make a joke about it, you can do whatever you want about it. Wolverine, I could totally see why a parent would take their kid to go see that and not realize it. You know what I mean? And make
Yeah.
that mistake of, well, I thought it was Wolverine. I didn't know it was going to be rated R. I guess they didn't do their homework like they should. But oh man, and also, did you see the thing James Gunn said about Deadpool?
I saw like a brief little quote from it, but I didn't read the whole thing.
Well, it was I don't think I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically to summarize, what he was saying is that he loved it. And what made it brilliant was not that just it was rated R and it was cursing and it was whatever, is that it did something different with the genre.
Yes.
Something completely different. Because he said, Guardians has comedy in it. Ant-Man especially has comedy in it. Those two are the ones that really do have comedy in it. But Deadpool didn't just do that. He completely flipped it on its head and he ran with it, and it's never been done in the genre before for comic book stuff, and it works. So now we have, we've talked about this before. We have your Captain America type film with the with the thriller, the who's done it kind of spy thing. You have the Guardians of the Galaxy, like an ensemble cast of unlucky people that have to get together and take on something big. And he kind of takes a shot too at Suicide Squad. He's like, I've seen studios try and do what we did, come out of the gate with an ensemble cast of unlucky heroes that have to work together, and you throw in a rock song. Like, it was a total shot at DC. And he's just like, but I hope that studios don't try and copy the wrong thing.
Yeah,
That
good. Yeah, that's wishful thinking, James.
Right, exactly. That it wouldn't be good if they go, oh, let's just make a movie rated R to be rated R.
Yeah.
Like, you can't take what you did with Deadpool and try and make Gambit out of it. It wouldn't
No.
work. Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of what he was saying.
So
I'm sure
he's hoping that Hollywood won't look at something that was a good idea one time and decide to do just that and only that the next 1,000 times.
Exactly. It's kind of what J.J. Abrams talks about in his TED Talks, where he's like, a million people tried to copy Star Wars, and they didn't understand what made Star Wars Star Wars. A million people tried to copy Jaws, a monster movie, the summer blockbuster, and failed in every single way. And I remember J.J. Abrams specifically talking about Jaws, saying, when you go back and watch that movie, it's about the characters. It's about, they build up those characters way before they even get on the boat, especially, for Brody. They build him up with his family and his kid and everything else, and all these little moments and stuff. Those are the moments that make those movies special, because anyone can do a monster movie.
Yeah.
And so little things like that. And Deadpool has that in spades. Ryan Reynolds, God, we keep talking about it, but we'll get into it later. He was in love with that character, and it showed in every scene. And that's the difference.
Yeah.
Is just the amount of love they had for the source material. So we'll get all of that later.
Yeah. And it comes back to why I love what Kevin Smith is doing.
Mm-hmm.
And you can love his movies, you can hate his movies, whatever you want, but you can't deny that he has enough of an audience who will say, you know what, this guy is gonna make movies based on ideas that he wants to see made into movies. He's not worried about somebody from Universal coming down and saying, I will spend $50 million on. No, he's working with the Weinsteins and one or two other companies. He makes his movies on a micro budget, and the international distribution rights will sell for enough to make the movie a profit.
Yep.
It doesn't have to go to theaters. They can go straight to digital, and it's already made money.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I applaud him and what he's doing, because he said, look, I tried the whole Hollywood thing, and it was kind of a cop-out. And so and then
I got it.
After a while, he found enough support that he had, you have to respect the position he's in too, to say, look, I have a crowd, I have a following, I have enough of a fan base where I can do these really cheap films that are just fun, ridiculous stories that not everybody's going to like. But enough people are going to like it, and I know how to make them cheap enough that it's a surefire thing. So why not do it? And that's, I know we've talked about this before, the idea that Hollywood needs to go back to like the $20-30 million movie.
Yeah.
We need, not everything has to cost, the GDP of some small countries. We can have good movies that don't, that aren't, the size of military projects.
Yeah, seriously. And I forgot who said it, but they were saying that movies back in the day, when you had a limited budget, you were forced to think outside of the box. I think they were actually talking about Star Wars. Is that back when they made those films, they had to think, well, how can we do this on this budget? And they came up with some of the best stuff that people have seen. People went into and I talked about this before. When my mom went and saw Star Wars, she had no idea how they shot the opening scene with the ships, coming out. No clue. It blew her mind. It was like, how did you do that? It was before CGI, before all that other stuff. Never saw anything like that in her life, and that was most of America and the world when they saw it, and that they had to think outside of the box on how to do this on such a limited budget. And today everyone's just spoiled with CGI, and I think that's why the new Star Wars works so well, is they took a step back and they said, no, let's do some creatures, let's make it fun, let's get weird again, instead of just having a complete cartoon instead of it looking like Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
It's why I love people who will look back and they will say, look, we need practical effects for CGI should almost be a last resort
Right.
because it's going to look fake because it is. If you can't physically touch it, if it's not actually there, the odds of it looking like it doesn't belong are what kind of ruins it. And
Right.
and you have to it's why I can't stand Transformers anymore. Because
Right.
it's all just CGI. I have no problem with the fact that these movies are made for no other reason than to have giant robots on screen hitting each other. I have no problem with that. My
Hmm.
problem is they try to pretend like there's a story to it
Right.
when it's not made to have a story. You could make a Transformers movie with a story. They tried that with the first one, and they almost had a decent
I
movie.
I liked it. I thought it was great. I thought Shia was perfect in it. He made it funny. There was a cool little story, and then it just went south from there.
Yeah,
Especially the second one. The second one was you couldn't tell. Ugh, we can go into all that all day
yeah.
about that.
But I mean that's why I love when you can tell if you tell me here are two films. This one may look cooler, it may have better visual effects. This one was made more practically and more sensibly. You can do VFX on a budget. You can do solid visual effects for not a tremendous amount of money. You just have to know how to use them. You have to know how to frame the shot. It's about filmmaking. It's not about designing computer graphics to put around some people who you're trying to have act to nothing. It's
Right.
about actual filmmaking. So
Right.
you put those two up there and you say, this one has more emphasis on practical effects. This one is more big budget kaboom. I may enjoy the big budget kaboom. It may be a fine movie. But my first instinct is going to be to go towards the practical one. To say,
Right.
here, this is made by people who know how to make movies, who remember what it takes to actually make a film and what movies at their core are supposed to do. If you're going to entertain, then you have to be engaging. It can't just be a visual spectacle. Fireworks are fun, but if that's not a movie.
Right. I mean, kind of like a game equivalent is the Tall Tale games. They're nowhere near graphical powerhouses. Their engines are pretty much shit, but they tell good stories.
Right. And they
You know.
don't need to have fantastic graphics. You
Right.
can see they do enough where you can see the expressions. You can
Hmm.
make out the necessary details. And what more do you need?
And you get engaged. It makes you get engaged and make decisions. I hear Tales from Borderlands is fantastic, and I
Okay.
have no interest in Tales from Borderlands at all.
Yeah.
And that's what everyone says is if you're gonna play one Telltale game, or Telltale game, that's it. Play that one. And I'm like, really? What? That just doesn't. I don't. They're like, no, no, no. Don't. You don't understand. You have to play that one, if any of them. So it's like, oh, you got me.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
it's those kind of games that you can have a big graphic powerhouse, but if there's no story and it's dull, no one's gonna care.
Right. I mean, but
Yeah.
that's the debate of time immemorial, really.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to get into some more movie news. Again, you're listening to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. See you in a minute. Welcome back to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. And since we just got talking about how terrible the Transformer movies is, let's get into some Transformer news.
Ah.
The release dates were announced for the upcoming fifth Transformer film, which is June 23rd, 2017. The sixth movie, June 8th, 2018, and the seventh film, June 28th, 2019. Films for the franchise. Now,
There's
also, well, one thing I wanted to tell you real fast. One little bit of good. Who knows what kind of news this could be, but it seems it would be interesting. Is apparently the sixth Transformer film is going to be a low. They call it a lower cost film, all about Bumblebee. Sorry about that, but yeah, no. So, it's going to be a lower cost in quotations. So
these
apparently,
movies
it's going to
cost.
be a smaller film.
Yeah, but these movies cost $250 million to make.
Right.
Smaller budget could mean $150 million. That's not really reassuring.
Well, with if you're going to be optimistic, and I'll try and be optimistic for a moment, to me, when it says lower cost, that might mean a smaller, more narrow story told, very that's really what the series needs. They need Bumblebee and, like, his buddy out on the road, just them two, no crazy 16 on screen, no giant buildings, just a smaller story. That would be a breath of fresh air. That would be I you know what I mean? And that's, I think, what we were just kind of talking about. So maybe, just maybe, they are listening. But who knows? You're probably right. You're probably absolutely right. That just probably means it's going to be 12 Transformers on screen instead of 18. It's going to be 16 buildings falling instead of 20. But yeah. So I don't know. That would be cool. So a standalone film of Bumblebee. I don't care about Bumblebee, so I don't know.
Well,
I
and
guess kids do. Kids love him. So
yeah, but I mean, here's my thing. There's no way they keep to this schedule. One Transformers movie every year? No, not gonna happen.
yeah, I don't know. I guess they'd probably be shooting it all at once and then just doing the animation afterwards.
I guess, but I don't see this sticking. I really don't. How long
Yeah.
has it been since the last? It's been 2 years since the last one,
Yeah,
hasn't it?
they haven't been filming yet, have they?
I no, didn't it? Either it started or it starts in the next. No, it starts in May, March or May, I think.
Well, I mean, you got to think this is what Star Wars is doing. That they're doing back-to-back films. It's not out of the realm of possibility. This is their big franchise. This is their, we got to play. This is Universal, right?
Yeah,
This is their big. This, and actually Fast and Furious, but
and
that's
their own monster movie
that's
franchise.
true.
So
That's
it's not
true.
like they're not exactly hurting for franchises here.
Yeah, actually, yeah, you're absolutely right. They're a little all over the place with the franchises, but yes, you're absolutely right. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We got
Yeah.
but to to segue into some good news, Deadpool, 152.2 million over a 4-day holiday weekend.
Whew.
Yeah, that
That's
was
money.
yeah. That's and that see that's this is the reason why Fox is going. Wait a second.
Yeah, hold up. Time out. It did what?
and that's for Deadpool. Imagine Wolverine, rated R. You're
Yeah.
going to, oh man, and that just proves that there's a fan base there. And I mean, I hate to break it to most people, but the people who read comic books are our age. That the people that actually read the books are usually in their 20s. I wish more kids read the books. That would be amazing. But that's kind of the demographic now. It's the 90s generation that grew up with it and stuck with it. The guys that go every week and buy it, they're not the 12-year-olds. They're not the 8-year-olds. They're the 22-year-olds that are like, I still love this. I'm doing it. It's my thing. The geeks like us.
Right, but
Um,
I do think that the market is slightly sliding a little younger. You've got books
yeah,
like Miss Marvel. You keep talking about Silver Surfer is that
yeah.
kind of book. The idea that they're getting not so much kid friendly, because I don't like, I think that term has some negative connotations to it, but the idea of being
They're more fun.
they're
Like,
more engaging for a younger audience.
oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I never thought about that. Yeah, Silver Surfer is the perfect comic you could hand to a kid. One that you have to know what they're into. If they're into, like, sports and ESPN, no. But if they're like into Doctor Who and you're like, oh, this kid's gonna be a geek, yeah, perfect. That is absolutely perfect. So yeah, I didn't even think about that, but you're absolutely right. And it
Yeah,
needs to slide that way. We need to get comics into more hands of kids, women, everything. Like, it needs to be more diverse than a specific, subsect of geeks that are into it.
exactly.
And comic book movies are the biggest thing on the planet right now. They have to. Honestly, there's two things I think a studio could do. First of all, give that crap out at a theater. Give it to someone who picks up a ticket. Give them a free comic of Deadpool. And put a little thing at the end of it saying, take it into a comic book store and you get another free issue. Bam, they're in the door. Put it at the freaking grocery store, right in line, like it used to be, where a kid can grab it and say, Mom, I want this. Instead of having Archie's Digest, put Daredevil in there, put X-Men in there, put Superman in there, Batman in there. That is the one honest thing that I think has that would make such a difference, but they don't do that anymore. You
Yeah.
get home shopping network with, I don't know. Anyway, moving on. Also,
That's a
Stephen
good.
Lang
Yeah.
from Avatar wants to play Cable. He's kind of lobbying it right now.
Yeah. I
I
thought
don't
that.
like it.
You
What
don't
about
like
you?
it?
No, his face looks too weird. I was looking at pictures and it's the way his face looks. It looks too weird for me. He doesn't have a. I need a bigger face. I know he's older. I want him just slightly a bit younger. My pick. I would love John Hamm. I think he's the right age. Think he could look the part, and he's a big guy. Just overall, he's a big. You know what I mean? That makes sense. His face is more full.
Yeah. Well, you're used to Cable being like square jawed and
Yes,
almost. He's Cable's like if somebody from like classic Hollywood got a little bit older.
exactly.
Like
And
that's
yep.
kind of what you need. Yeah, fair
And
enough.
that's what I think of John Hamm when I think of Mad Men. He's like everyone's dad, and that's what I think of him when I kind of think of Cable. I'm sure that John Hamm would hit the gym for a little bit, and he would
Yeah.
be perfect shape for it. So, and I also John Hamm. Most people don't know this. He's a funny motherfucker. The guy is a comedian. Anything that I see that he's always in the like. I know you don't like Conan O'Brien, but like he is this. When Conan went on the road for his show, when he got kicked off NBC or whatever, left or I don't know whatever. John Hamm is in the documentary, and he's just ripping everyone apart. And I never saw that side of him because he's always plays the straight, guy. But then
Yeah.
I guess he was in the Wedding Crashers. He was hilarious in that. Like he just played a jerk. He can be funny. He knows comedy. So I think Deadpool and Cable and X Force and all that other stuff, it would play well off of each other.
I
Um,
I've seen the fan art. I think Keira Knightley could do it.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll get into that later. Um, but yeah, so it's Deadpool was just such a breath of fresh air, just like Guardians was, honestly. And
Yeah.
that's the best comparison I could make. Um, okay, so Spawn, did you see this?
I did.
Yeah, Todd McFarlane confirms he's finished the script for the new Spawn film he wants to direct.
Yeah, he did a whole thing like he's got a slightly larger than normal script because he's got a lot of notes in there for himself because he wants to direct it. And he's talked about it's done, but it needs a little more editing, needs a little more trimming so that he has it to where he can just walk into a studio and say, "Here's a script. I want to direct this." And they can go from there. So,
Yeah.
he's looking for a 2016 start date. He wants to have, he wants to start production by the end of the year. I don't know how well that's gonna go,
Right.
but look at how well Deadpool did. If they're gonna go a rated R Wolverine, Spawn is a fantastic rated R anti-hero comic book film.
Yep.
This is a fantastic choice.
Yeah, and Kick-Ass kind of led the way too with like rated R comic book stuff. This is Deadpool, especially too, has now opened the door for studios to go. If this is done right,
There's an audience.
there's an audience for it. It has to be done right. I just like James Gunn said. I hope they don't just try and copy it because there was so much that went into that, especially with Ryan Reynolds. I could not see that movie with any other actor.
No, I couldn't
And it
either.
worked. No, he was Van Wilder, but just it was perfect. So, but yeah. So anyway, did you see the Predator? So the sequel reboot, whatever, co-written by Shane Black, from Lethal Weapon, and Fred Decker,
Yeah.
Night of the Creeps, put out some promotional image or like poster thing.
Yeah, it was kind of like a little poster. It was a one sheet, basically, is what it was. And I was like, oh, okay, that thing looks like a Predator. Like,
Yeah, no, totally. I don't know the state of the Predator universe at this point. I forgot the last film. I think the last one was
Adrian Brody and Lawrence Fishburne.
That's right.
Yeah,
It
that
was
one was
kind of
not
like
bad.
a
Yeah,
remake of the original in a way, a little or a reimagining. It almost seemed like, right?
in a sense.
Yeah, it was like let's get back to our roots kind of thing.
Yeah, and that kind of worked, and then like nothing came from it.
Yeah.
So I think they're gonna do. I mean, it looks like they're going for like a third reboot of sorts here.
Right.
And this is a franchise that I think never really got off the ground the way it could have. It
Right.
could have taken off like Alien did, but I mean, it just never happened.
Right.
The best Predator anything since the original has to be AVP Requiem, hands down, because that thing was a Predator. That thing was nasty,
Right. Right.
and that's what they should be. These things are hunters. These things are vicious. They're brutal, but they're calculating, and that's if you do this right, it can be a phenomenal horror movie. It's a monster movie
Oh
because
yeah.
that's what happens. This is a thing that is designed to hunt. That's what the killer in the movies does. It hunts. It creates this atmosphere of tension, and you could do it, and it could seriously work. And we need something like that now.
Hmm.
We haven't had a solid one of those in a long time.
Yep.
But I mean, putting aside something like It Follows, what's the last good, I don't want to say slasher movie, but that kind of like being hunted sort of film. Like I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Yeah, I can't either. I couldn't tell you. Everything over the last 2 years have been more like spirits and stuff.
Right. It's all been paranormal for better or
Right.
worse.
Right, exactly.
And
Paranormal.
usually worse.
Yeah. Paranormal or like big, I don't know, like creepy guy, like more realistic, like I don't know, like what are those movies where they everyone kills on one day?
Oh, The Purge.
The Purge, like basically psychos. There've been a
Yeah.
lot of like
Yeah.
that guy's crazy. Um
Did you see the trailer for the third one coming out?
yeah, I didn't like it.
No, you didn't. I did because I liked Anarchy. I thought Anarchy was a great follow up.
I thought it was good. I'm not interested in the series. I guess it bores me. I'm like, it's not that it bores. I don't know. There's just something weird about it where I'm just like, I don't want to go down that road
Yeah,
again. I've
if
been
it
down it twice.
yeah, it doesn't click. It doesn't click.
Right, right. I don't know. Like for example, I'm weird. I want to go back down the road of The Conjuring because how I left that theater, I was like, that was fantastic. I haven't seen a film like that in so long. That was scary. Wasn't most horror films these days are like uh jump scary or like jokey scary. That was like, oh, that was different. That
That
was
was
like really good film.
Yeah, that was proper scary.
Right,
It
right.
was.
And so I'm ready to go back down that road, but I don't know. I'm not. It's just maybe it's 'cause it's so outlandish to me, like a whole everyone going crazy and murdering people on one day. It's I don't know if that's what turns
Yeah,
me off about it.
that's understandable. If you can't, if the suspension of disbelief isn't there, then something like that, especially the whole premise falls apart.
Right,
That's
yeah,
fair
and
enough.
just like the imagery too, really, and I guess it does its job because it does make me feel gross. Where all the American stuff, but then they're all murdering, and I'm like, that's makes me feel gross just looking at it. Like, ugh. So I don't know, but I guess that's the point. Like it's supposed to make you feel weird and like, okay, one day everyone just goes crazy and murders to the national anthem or whatever's playing in the background. So it's ugh. But yeah, so and did you see the trailer for that the like the like the first person shooter movie?
Oh, Hardcore Henry.
Hardcore Henry, yeah. Now apparently I saw that because I remember seeing the trailer a while ago.
What, like a year ago or something like that?
Yeah, exactly. My
Yeah.
buddy sent me this. Like, "Hey, did you see this trailer?" And I was like, uh, "No." And I started playing. I was like, "Oh yeah, this was a thing like a year ago. I thought it was like an independent film."
Yeah, and apparently, like, it got so much buzz online that they were like, yeah, we could pick this up and do a wider release with it, sure.
Absolutely. Now I'm interested in seeing it. I mean, I think it is a gimmick, the first person shooter, because the story looks like shit,
Oh,
but
yeah.
it looks like fun, and maybe this sets the path for, Far Cry the film or something like that.
I don't, it,
It's a perfect kind of idea for it.
yeah, I just don't know if first person is gonna work. I mean, found
Right.
footage is bad enough,
Right.
but I mean,
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. That's all I'm saying is that curious how it's going to work out. But we'll be right back. Again, you're listening to We Geek podcast on the N.FM, and we will see you in a minute. Welcome back to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM, and we are still in movies. It's all movies this week, apparently. Just kidding, but we're in the middle of movies, so we got some news here about Ant-Man. Ant-Man and the Wasp. Adam McKay says he will definitely be involved in the upcoming sequel.
Yeah, he co-wrote Ant-Man, so I'm curious, like, what is just how involved is he going to be? What's his level of involvement really moving forward?
Yeah, I'm totally in, man. I loved Ant-Man for what it was. It was different. It was our smaller Marvel film.
Exactly, and really,
Yeah,
really.
Yep, I went there. But yeah, so it worked. It worked in every way. It didn't need to be some big Captain America, Avengers, Iron Man dramatic. I honestly can't wait to see him in Civil War and the stuff that Paul Rudd says in front of these guys. It's gonna be gold. He's the new guy. He's gonna be all nervous. He's gonna be like, "You're Captain America." Like,
yeah.
What are we doing? This is crazy. I can't wait to see that interaction.
And we're gonna have Spider-Man and Ant-Man. Like, come on, put these two in a room together. Just listen to them talk.
Oh, yeah. And see, here's the thing. We'll get into Deadpool in a little bit. I really think that Fox is doing things on purpose to leave that door open. I really think they're on the cusp of crossing over. And just imagine Spider-Man popping up in a Deadpool film. He's like, nope, I'm staying away from that guy. Don't come near me, Wade. Yeah. So anyway, we'll talk about all that in a little bit. But back to movies. Now, I didn't see this trailer. Did you see the Kindergarten Cop 2 trailer?
Unfortunately.
So, I mean, I saw a still of it, and I was like, oh, that looks bad.
That's, yeah, you got it.
It looked like someone kidnapping a child, and the child was screaming.
Yeah, well, because remember, like, this, if you watch the trailer for it, you're like, oh, I remember every one of these scenes when Arnold did it in the original Kindergarten Cop.
Oh, wow, it's one of those.
Oh, remember, like, this where everybody goes crazy and he's like, shut up!
Right.
In this one, everybody goes crazy and there's Dolph and he just goes, quiet! It's like, oh god, this movie was gonna suck to begin with, but now it's, like, really gonna suck.
Yeah.
Like, it's not gonna be the kind of suck where you could watch it and laugh, and it's gonna be the one where you watch it and you just go, wow, this is sad.
Yeah, that's it. That sucks. That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah. But all right. Well, we got more Daredevil news. Ryan Reynolds apparently is reportedly in talks to star in Life, which is a large-scale Skydance productions film that follows a Mars space station. A Mars space mission. So I guess that's his next film after Daredevil.
Deadpool.
Yeah. Jeez. Yeah. So apparently he's doing a movie about being going to Mars. So that's the next one up on his list. Did you see that they announced a new Pokemon movie is coming out this year?
Yeah, they've got because I saw it because they announced the new Pokemon.
Yeah. That's what I did too, and it looked like someone made the joke. It was like BB-8's mom or something.
Yeah.
Dead on. Oh yeah. But we got some TV news. You take this one.
Yeah. So the weekly Gilmore Girls revival update. Because we're gonna talk about this every week till it happens. I promise you. But yeah, basically what they've announced is they've got more or less the entire cast back, except for Melissa McCarthy, which they're still, and I still say she comes back. They just haven't. This whole dust up will blow over and everything. But,
it'll be a tease, I think. But they could easily shoot a little clip and attach it right at the end of the season.
Or something like that, yeah.
It'd be a cool little tease, like, "Hey guys, I'm back.
Right.
I went to Afghanistan," or I don't know what they would. I don't know what they would. Do.
Boy, that would be interesting for Suki.
They teased the whole season. Like, where is she at? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, well, she went to a wedding, and then the next thing you know, we haven't heard from her since.
I was gonna say, can you guys tell I've never seen Gilmore Girls before?
Yeah, little bit.
Right. Oh yeah. My favorite thing, just a sidetrack for 2 seconds. I know we don't have time to. My favorite thing, the guys I listen to, Colin and Greg from the Kind of Funny. My favorite thing is when Colin will ask Greg, about like a hockey player or something like that, and Greg will just bullshit. He's like, "Oh yeah, he's a good defensive player, right? He had a lot of blocks last season where they couldn't get it into the goal, right? He had a double whammy on the side." I don't know. Just always, it's my favorite thing. Yeah, just pretend to go with it. but but yeah. So anyway, I still gotta see Gilmore Girls. I got that Netflix. I need to hit it up.
There you go. Hey,
Pretty much.
you should. You may actually enjoy it.
I will, dude. I don't know why I didn't do it the other day. I was sitting looking at my Netflix, looking at my games. It's so weird. You ever like really want to get a game, you really want to get a movie, you have it, and then you sit there and then you just get lost on the internet,
Oh, so much.
and you're like, "Fuck! I just wasted like however many hours," and you're like, "I didn't do anything," and it's not productive, but anything like rewarding.
You basically just described Tumblr, dude.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. And I'm like, I could have been doing something fun, and I've just been, I don't know. I guess in a way it's relaxing, but yeah, that's what happened. I was like, I could have been doing something. But all right. Well, we got Shooter, USA Greenlight series based on 2007 Mark Hamill film.
Wahlberg.
Wahlberg. Why did I say Mark?
'Cause
Anyway,
you're trying not to remember this movie, and I don't blame you.
right. Ryan Philippe. Might say that wrong too. Damages. Yeah.
Philippe, I forget.
Felipe. Damages, Secrets, and Lies, and Omar Epps from House to Star. Yeah, I remember the movie. Wasn't that interesting to me.
No.
Marky Mark apparently is going to be here in Orlando soon to open up his new.
Oh, do they have a Wahlburgers coming to Orlando?
They have a Wahlburgers, and people are going to go meet him.
Oh, God. My brother loves that show.
Oh, it's a show?
Wahlburgers, yeah, it's a reality show. His
I don't
whole
know.
family.
I'm so far. I know reality shows like the big one. Like I know about Kim Kardashians or whatever, the Kardashians. You know what I mean? Like I know the Survivor. Like I get that's not a reality show. I guess that's like a game show.
Well, it's reality like ish maybe. I'm amazed it's even still on. It's been on for like 15 years.
See, I guess I separate like reality game shows like Amazing Race and stuff like that, and then like straight up, let's follow this family around because for whatever people find them interesting. That
Fair
kind
enough.
of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't stand reality game shows. Like they get on my nerves. Like anytime I go to like my family's house, like my parents or my grandparents, especially my grandparents, they love Amazing Race, and it just makes me nervous. It makes my shoulders tingle, and I'm like, this is too nerve wracking. These people don't have it together, and their lives are being ruined in front of us. I just can't deal with it. Like the guy can't make it to Tokyo in time or whatever they're trying to do. It's not. My favorite reality show, real fast. I know we don't have time for tangent. My guilty pleasure is Wife Swap.
Okay.
That's perfect. A whole afternoon of Wife Swap is not time wasted because you see these two people completely opposite lives, and then they swap and they lose their minds and melt down in front of these strangers. It's the best thing ever.
Yeah, see,
all right.
Mine was Storage Wars. I was one of those like I felt like I would flip on A&E and they're running like a 7-hour marathon, and I just like I'm fully aware that probably half of that stuff was planted. I didn't care.
Oh yeah.
Didn't care at all.
Back in college, real fast. I forgot what happened. I fell on some hard times. I lost my storage unit. I had a chair in it, a few like stupid stuff. I had nothing really in it. But for whatever reason, I didn't pay on the thing, and it went for auction or whatever. Suddenly the lock, there was a different lock on it, and I was like, oh well, I guess I won't get my chair back. I forgot what happened. Like I literally couldn't take it out. I had no place to move it. It was a few other things in there too. Completely lost it. Nothing worth the time. And I kept thinking, someone's gonna this is gonna be one of those on Storage Wars where they come by and it's gonna have like two items in it, like a book and a chair. Anyway, we got to get into some more news. Ash vs. the Evil Dead, Lee Majors, the $6 Million Man, and Ted Raimi. Oh, God.
Raimi.
Raimi cast as Ash's father, Brock, and childhood friend Chet
Kaminsky. Yeah.
Yeah, respectively in season 2. Have you been watching any more of Ash and Evil Dead?
I haven't. Like that's another one that I'm so far behind on. I loved what I have watched, and this is great news. I didn't know Lee Majors was still making things.
Yeah, I didn't know that
That's
either.
fantastic. He's only like in his like mid 70s, I think.
Yeah, no, my grandparents are going to be excited to hear about that.
Yeah.
Doubt they'll watch the show. But did you see this? We're going to get a new Star Wars TV show, the one we've been waiting for this entire time. It's all we've been talking about. Just kidding, it's a Lego Star Wars show. Yeah, it's like Lego Star Wars animated series TV show, The Freemaker Adventures, and it will debut this summer on Disney XD.
Hey,
We'll follow a family of scavengers who built starships from debris and space battles and sells them. See, that sounds like a great show that you can do a live action about. No, it's going to be about Legos.
well, I mean, that's at least they were like, well, we're gonna do Lego Star Wars. Well, what happens when the ships blow up? Well, then you just have a bunch of Lego pieces. Hey, you can make anything out of Lego pieces. Well, there you go. They scavenge Lego pieces. Oh my God.
Right. Yeah.
That there's a logic to that at least. And hey, Lego's on a roll, and we are living in a Lego renaissance.
Oh, you don't have to tell me I got that Lego Millennium Falcon just chilling over there.
Uh-huh.
I loved every second of it, but I'm not gonna watch a Lego TV show. That's the difference. I got the same feeling I saw when I read new Star Wars show announced, and they were teasing it on purpose.
Oh, sure.
And then I click the link, and it's Lego, and I'm just like, you son of a. So for example, years ago when I was like, new Star Wars game, it's a Lego one. New Star Wars, it's a Lego one. Son of a bitch, it's the trilogy. It's the complete saga, and there was no other Star Wars games coming out. And it was so upsetting. And I just felt like we live in a time where we could actually get a real life Star Wars show, and we have two that are cartoons or like animated.
Yeah, but it's cheaper to do them that way though. Then you can do that in cartoons, and the effects don't look terrible because they're in cartoons.
Right. No, absolutely. I agree. But we're gonna take a break. And we'll be back. We'll hop into some more TV news. Again, you're listening to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. See you in a minute. Welcome back to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM, and we got some more TV news for you. We have The Simpsons. May 15th episode apparently is going to be, parts of it are going to be live. It's going to end with a 3-minute live Q&A with Homer. Producer Al Jean says the show will use motion capture technology to accomplish it.
Yeah, I thought that was bizarre.
That's extremely bizarre, but kind of interesting, to see them react and answer, I guess, one question or a few questions and have it animated live on television.
Possible.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you would just have the camera fixated on this image and someone live, capturing the motion live on screen. That's really cool. Yeah. We got Powerpuff Girls. Cartoon Network releases clip for upcoming revival of animated show. Did you see this?
I did. It looks like a refreshed version of the old show. Like
cool.
It's not terrible. It's like, everything is like because all they did was pretty much just a straight. It's almost like they just continued making episodes. I don't think that the voice cast is the same. I have to go back and look, but I don't think so. It certainly didn't sound the same. What I heard. So that would be a bummer. But I'll have to go back and check that. But I mean, it just looks like it's a little shinier, basically.
Gotcha.
And that comes out in April, I think, is when they start.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I remember Tara Strong was Bubbles.
Bubbles. Yeah.
Yeah. Well. Cool. Yeah. No. I'm surprised it took this long for it to come back.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of the old stuff, because that's the thing with animation. You can get they made more Jetsons episodes decades after the originals. They brought back the original cast.
Right.
The guy that voiced George Jetson actually died during a recording session.
Are you kidding me?
I'm really not. Andrea Romano was directing the session, and he was in. I can't remember his name, and that's terrible. But he'd been in really just terrible health. But it was that thing of he showed up and he did this work, and it brightened him up and everything, and it kind of added some extra time for him. And then one day in the session he had a stroke, and that was it.
Mm.
between the studio and the hospital, they lost him, I think.
Oh wow, that's
It's
horrible. Yeah, so there's George O. Hanlon for one of the Jetsons, and then Jeff Bergman, and it looks like Jeff might have been later.
Yeah,
So,
George Hanlon sounds right. Yeah.
yeah, because that's a black and white picture. The other one's like color. So
Yeah, there you go. See?
yep, yeah.
But I mean,
Um,
you can, animation is the easiest thing to you can bring the original cast back if you can, because the voices, adults' voices don't change really. Maybe
right.
they get a little more character, 40 years, 50 years down the road,
Hmm.
but by and large they don't really change.
Right.
So unless the character is way out there, maybe it's a range that they can't hit anymore, or it's an inflection that they just can't quite twist their vocal cords around. But I
Hmm.
mean, animation can look exactly the same forever.
Right.
So I mean, that's something I don't know. I don't know what happened there, but
Yeah. Yeah.
anyway.
Absolutely. But yeah, so we got Geeking Out, Grunberg from Heroes of the Force Awakens, and Kevin Smith hosting new weekly half-hour pop culture show on AMC. What do you think about this?
Okay, sure, why not? More competition for us.
Yeah, exactly. Well, see, the apparently it's only going to be 6 episodes. I would love a late night show on AMC where it's Monday through Friday, 11 to whatever, 11 to 12, an hour long, kind of like what Conan does, Jay and all the other ones, and just do make it geeky. That's what I thought this was going to be, but apparently it's not. And I know that'd be too much for Kevin Smith. That's way too much on his plate. There's no way he'd have time to do that and actually make like Mallrats 2 and stuff.
Right.
It wouldn't happen. Maybe Greg, I guess. Or yeah, I don't know.
Why not get somebody like get
Chris.
well, not just Chris, but like Jessica Chobot or
Well,
Adrian Curry. I mean, these are
right.
they could do it. I mean,
No, absolutely.
and it doesn't have to be guys.
No, that's true. Well, I was just thinking Chris Hardwick, just because he does so well with the talking
Right.
dead. It's just perfect. He would be the perfect late night host for that. But
Because
dude, that
he's
guy
not.
does way too much.
Yeah, he's not doing 12 things already.
Will Wheaton would be neat, but
There you go. Now
yeah,
you're talking.
yeah. But he gets like an anxiety. I don't know if he would. I don't know. I love seeing Will Wheaton. Don't get me wrong, and that would be a great idea. But yeah, I don't know. Somebody like that, and Will would be perfect. He's like the king of geeks. Um,
That
yeah,
was
geeking out.
yeah. That was funny. That was his joke. Like he was on the Nerdist, and he called Chris Hardwick. He said, What's it like to be the king of the nerds?" And like Chris lost his mind. He was like, "Stop it! You have to stop saying that. You have no idea how many people come up to me and are
Yeah,
like, 'You need to tell your people.'" And he's like, I don't speak for everybody. Like, stop that."
right.
Like
Oh yeah.
he had a serious freak out over it. It was hysterical.
Yeah, I think I heard that one. He was talking about how I guess Chris drives a really nice car, and he's like, I felt like I needed to go put cones next to it when you parked at my house. And he's like, stop it. Yeah, I thought it was funny. They have such a good comport. Them two should have the show. Like that would be perfect.
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
work.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But did you see the trailer for the new Daredevil show?
I did.
Yes. Oh, that was perfect.
It was very. I love how it's going to be two parts. Like they did like this trailer is all Punisher, and then what is it like next? I think next Thursday, the second trailer drops and it's all Elektra,
Right.
and I think that's a neat way to do it.
Oh yeah, and I forget the exact quote. I loved Punisher's quote in it though, where he was like,
You're you're
uh,
one bad day away from being me.
yes, exactly. But there was one where he was like, you put them down and they get back up. I put them down for good, or I put them down and they stay down. I was like,
Yeah,
yes, that's exactly what. And he's absolutely right. He's like, you're one bad day away from me. You're one bad day away from just ending their life.
yeah.
And that's really cool because you can have the Punisher do that kind of stuff and get away with it because he's the Punisher. He's no games, no. Um, I thought it was really cool. I didn't know there was going to be a part 2 trailer, so that's next week
Yeah.
on the 25th. So,
Yeah.
damn, that's awesome. When does the show come back? Like March or April?
April something.
Damn, few months away. Can't wait. We got a teaser for the 6th season of Game of Thrones.
This one is gonna freak people out.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I didn't see the.
Oh, all right. It's you hear flashbacks of everybody who's died. You know, like all the big people. You know, kind of spoilerish alert by now. You know, and it shows their faces like as masks on the giant mask thing in the temple, and it's neat because then it's like Sean, you know, it's Sean Bean, and then it's, you know, the guy that played Rob, and it shows Jon Snow, and it's them like picked out quotes from them, and then it pans down and there's Peter Dinklage, and then it pans and then it zooms out and it's like all of these people. It's basically like everybody
Right.
on this tower, and you're like, wow, okay, so does this, you know, interesting. Like,
Yeah.
it's really interesting.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I guess that kind of like just kicks into gear. Like any of these people can go at any time.
Valar Morghulis.
Yep. There's nothing you can do about it. And now we're in such uncharted territory that now it's really scary.
Yeah.
You know, not knowing who's gonna make it out. It could kill your favorite person right out of the gate and be like, surprise.
Yeah, right. Like this is a show that has. Man, I really like this character they introduced this season. Oh my god.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a grape, man. Like a grape.
Yep. Oh yeah.
The screams. Oh my god, that was the worst part.
Yeah.
It wasn't the gore or the violence. It was the sound. Yeah. I can't go back and like if I went back and rewatched the series, I would have to skip like that 30 seconds.
Yeah.
That
or
just
turn it down. Turn the surround sound off at that point.
Yeah, that was frightening.
Yeah. Well, absolutely.
Oh.
Yeah, Game of Thrones is something else.
Yeah. I'll say.
Did you see the trailer for AMC's The Night Manager with Tom Hiddleston and Hugh Laurie?
No, I didn't see there's a trailer for it.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of it. It looks interesting.
Okay.
I guess I didn't really understand what it was about. I gotta rewatch it, but apparently the trailer was released.
Okay. I was gonna say it sounds a little par for the course for some AMC stuff.
Right, yeah. Hugh Laurie is British voice though. He didn't have his American accent.
Okay.
Yeah. And Showtime and Netflix are in talks with Daniel Craig to do a series. So they're trying to. I guess there's a series they both want to do with him. I'm sorry, he's shopping around a series to both Showtime and Netflix.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know anything else about it besides that.
Interesting.
But yeah. Well, let's get into some video game news. Walking Dead Michonne, Tall Tale announced Episode 1, In Too Deep, to launch on February 23rd, Episode 2, Give Me No Shelter, to drop in March, and Episode 3, What We Deserve, to drop in April. Now, is it only going to be 3?
Yeah, that's it. This one's just a mini series.
Gotcha, okay.
Yeah,
that's
it's
cool.
going to be, what is it priced? $15? 15 or 17, I think, for all three.
Okay.
I think it's 15. I want to say 15.
Okay. That sounds about right. It's usually what I pay usually for Tall Tale games.
Yeah, and that's fair. That's totally, $5 a game, $6 a game. That's
right.
Totally fair. For what you get, especially, it's totally fair.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I keep meaning to go back and finish season 2. Like I've only done one episode of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Game of Thrones one I want to finish.
Oh god, yeah, that's right. Those episodes are all out too.
I also have The Wolf Among Us.
Yeah. Because that doesn't that go up for free or like really super cheap on PlayStation Store a while back?
Yeah, it did. I think at one point in time it was free, just like the Walking Dead one.
Yeah.
I might have bought it for like $3. Yeah, I think when all the Tall Tale ones went on sale, I bought them all, except for the one that everyone is now saying to play, which is Borderlands.
Tales of the Borderlands.
Yeah, they keep saying just how funny it is. And
interesting.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm not kidding. Everyone I've talked to is like, that's the one to play. You gotta play that one. And I'm like, the source material is not interesting me at all. They're like, no, 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 don't. That doesn't matter. It's funny. And so I thought, okay, well, why not? If it's good story, I'm in. You know.
Sure.
Yep. So, but yeah. So that's Walking
They'll,
Dead shown.
yeah, and
Uh,
they'll come back around on sale. I mean, right now they're doing a huge Rockstar sale this week.
yep. Yep. Absolutely. Um. Oh wait. So what? So Rockstar sales. So what's Grand Theft Auto at?
38
Oh, 30.
for
Ooh.
GTA 5, but I think it's like it's whatever complete. It's the PS4 edition, whatever the complete
See,
thing
I,
was.
I owned it at one point in time and traded it in. When that drops to $20, I'll buy it. I know it's worth it for like 30, of course, but I'm weird. I'm gonna wait probably until that's about $20, purchase it, and then it's a huge game.
Yeah,
It's massive. Like that's the
and
reason why they won't make any DLC for it, is because the multiplayer is just so big right now. It would
yeah,
mess that up.
yeah. They keep updating the multiplayer.
Yep, yep. But I don't know. I don't know why Grand Theft Auto. When people like ask you what's the thing that everyone loves that you're just not into, Grand Theft Auto just doesn't do it for me. It's the last one was really cool. I played most of the last one, and the story's interesting. You get a different perspective of the different lives in LA. Just completely different lifestyles. You have the rich guy, you have the guy not so rich, and then you have the freaking crazy dude out in out in the outskirts, just wacko. And they all come together.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. We got some Kojima news. Developer launches new YouTube channel. First video is a list of top 10 movies of 2015. Also posts pictures of himself and Norman Reedus discussing future collaboration.
Norman thinks that he and Kojima and Del Toro are still gonna work together in the future.
Hey, I believe
He
it. These two
has
guys are BFFs, so
he's got a lot of faith in some sort of collaboration going forward.
yeah, that's awesome. Absolutely. Yeah, I saw some of this. It was kind of weird. It's very, very like Japanese or something. You know what I mean? It was very. I had no idea what they were saying. The set and everything just looked like, I don't know. Did you see it?
I did, yeah. I
Yeah.
found a translation for just so I could see like some of the titles and opinions.
The one I saw had translation for maybe 3 or 4 minutes, and that's it. And then
And
it
that
went
was
away.
it.
And I thought, well, someone just stop translating. I don't know what they're saying. All I heard was Kylo Ren, and then and he was hacking. That's it. And I was like, okay, well, I'm done with this. We got Call of Duty. Activision announces that the next Call of Duty game will be developed by Infinity Ward.
Yeah, they're coming back to the franchise.
Yep, and the multiplayer only version of Call of Duty Black Ops 3 is now available on Steam.
Whoa, they're doing a multiplayer only version?
Yep, so it's a cheaper version of it, so you don't have to have the single player. If you just want to play multiplayer Call of Duty, there you go.
And that's most people,
Yeah,
really.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Do it well after the game has been out, so that I don't know who this is for, because if someone's just into the multiplayer, you probably already own it. But then again, I don't know. If you're like, hey, I want that game, but I don't give a shit about the single player, I'll drop $20 for just or however much it is for the multiplayer only. There you go.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
It's not
Watch
the
Dogs
worst.
2. What'd you say?
Not the worst idea in the world.
Nope, not at all. It's kind of like what Battlefront did. They just dropped the multiplayer.
Yeah.
They skipped the story part.
Yeah.
Watch Dogs 2 sequel reportedly coming before April 2017.
Yeah. Yeah, we know there's not going to be an Assassin's Creed this year, which I am perfectly fine with. I actually think that's a great idea.
What I've played of the last one, it was really good.
Yeah.
Man, I really need to finish games.
Yeah.
I really
Yeah, you
need
do.
I can't tell you the last time I finished one. But yeah, it's I never played the first Watch Dogs.
You didn't? It's ultra cheap right now.
Yeah.
And you should. Like it's not what was promised. It's definitely like cuz they built it up as like this ridiculously intrinsic, you can hack absolutely everything kind of thing. And the problem is they overhyped it. They did.
Right.
So a lot of people felt burned because they got a good game. Watch Dogs is a good game. It's
But I
just
mean,
not what was promised.
it doesn't look like it's for me though. Like I said, I'm weird. Grand Theft Auto doesn't interest me.
Eh.
If it had a weird setting, like for example, I'd love a Grand Theft Auto set in Tokyo or set in like I don't know a different time era.
Did you
Those are the GTA's I like.
did you play Sleeping Dogs?
No, I didn't play that.
That's okay. There.
Okay.
GTA in Japan or in
See,
no
see,
Hong Kong. Hong Kong.
See, that would be interesting for me. It has to be. I'm just weird. I don't like modern day, gangster stuff. It just bores the tears out of me. I'm like, all right, okay, I'm gonna go here and punch somebody and steal their. I'm weird. It's just. I know that's what most people like, but it's just not my
Yeah.
thing. So, Watch Dogs just. It was like, okay, it's hacker. It's a little bit different, but it was like, nope, you're still getting in cars. You're still driving around. You're still. Doing whatever. You're hacking into a doorway. It just wasn't. It didn't look like it was interesting for me. But if it's super cheap, it's cheap on sale for like $8, then I might pick it up
It's
and download it.
Yeah, it's dirt cheap on the PSN store.
Yeah. So see, I might do something like that. Destiny. So we finally got some information. The new there's going to be a large expansion coming out later this year, and a full sequel is coming next year, according to Activision Insider.
Yeah, I would expect big news from E3 this year.
Right. Did you see who went from BioWare to Bungie?
No, who went to Bungie?
Okay, so remember the Mass Effect guy, the lead writer left
Okay, so
BioWare.
right, not the Dragon Age guy, but the Mass Effect guy.
Was it the same person?
I don't know. No, two people, two different
Okay,
people.
so the Mass Effect guy, the lead writer left and joined Bungie.
Wow, how about that?
Yep. Let's see here.
Because I remember the Dragon Age guy went to Dragon's Gate company
Right.
or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is Chris Sheloff. He's announced as the new lead writer for the upcoming follow-up to The Shepherd. Blah 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 blah. Yeah. Well, hold on, just a moment. Yeah, to confirm what a few folks asked a few months back, I'm no longer working for for Mass Effect. He's now working at no, hold on, just a moment here. Yeah, okay. I'm sorry. Yep. So it's the same guy. He's now working. Sorry, I'm getting it all mixed up. He's working for Bungie now. So that's gonna be interesting. Yeah. Bungie needs good writers. They need a story in Destiny desperately.
Big time.
Yep. So I mean, I'm not playing it anymore. Honestly, I'm the only time I hop in there is when my friends are like, "Hey, come in!" Like, and I have nothing else to play. I'll play it with them, but that's it. Other than that, the whole time I'm like, I don't want to play another match. I like hanging out with you guys. I'll stay in the chat talking to you, but other than that, I'd rather do anything else. I'd rather sit and play the witness and talk to them while I'm trying to figure out puzzles. But yeah, so we got Crash Bandicoot. Contrary to rumors and NECA toy comments, Sony is not reviving the beloved character and former mascot. So what was the confusion there?
Okay, somebody from NECA Toys basically announced, they were like, yeah, and Sony's bringing back Crash Bandicoot, so we're excited to do the toys for that. And somebody else from NECA said, whoa, 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 whoa. What he meant to say was, if Sony brings back Crash Bandicoot, we would be happy to do the toys for it.
That's a big mess up.
Right?
Yeah, it's funny because he's probably like, no one's gonna see this. Then bam, it blew up the internet.
Yeah.
But I think it hopefully maybe got a little bit of fire underneath Sony to do a deal with Activision.
I mean, yeah, that's I mean, look at the partnership that they have with Activision. Look at everything that they've done with Bungie.
Yeah.
Like everything that's been Destiny. I mean, that's all Activision. All the Call of Duty exclusive stuff, all Activision.
Yep.
Like so it's not. Just do it already. Give me a new Crash game, damn it.
Yeah. And see, I mean, I'll be completely upfront. I'm not that interested in a Crash game, but I understand why the fan base love it. I understand why it would be important for Sony. Yeah, give us a first party game. Technically, I guess it wouldn't be first party, but you know what I mean.
Right.
Give Sony a franchise that their audience loves again. Absolutely. Pokemon. Nintendo unveils well, we announced this earlier. The 722nd Pokemon character, Magarena.
Yeah, sure. It's all I could do not to actually be like, hey, my God,
Right,
like,
exactly. Which is going to appear in the movie, which we talked about.
yeah.
Now, did you see this though? Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic, a fan group, appearing to apparently they're attempting to remake the 2003 RPG in the Unreal Engine 4. So they're going to, from the ground up, they are remaking Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic, and just making it look amazing.
Yeah, that will never happen. Because there are far less ambitious fan remakes that don't even get off the ground. This is a Herculean task.
Well, I hope you're wrong because
I hope I am too.
And I think that would really embarrass EA, where they're like, guys, people are so desperately wanting this that they're going out of their way to literally create a game from scratch.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a completely new engine. That's embarrassing as hell. That's super embarrassing if you can't create a single player RPG. I'm actually, here's the thing. I honestly think at the end of this year, in E3 this year, we are going to see a plenty of Star Wars single player games. And if we don't, EA screwed up. Like,
big time.
That has to be my most anticipated thing to see this year. So I want to see what they're doing with Star Wars. We have to see something, or it's sorry. We got people at their house building an entire Star Wars RPG, and you can't figure that out why people want that. But then again, I mean, these things, it takes years for things to be put into place, and you can really tell that they're probably trying desperately to be like, all right, we need to get something in gear here for single player because people, we hear you, hopefully. We got PlayStation VR news. GameStop CEO Paul Raines hints that Sony Project will launch this fall.
Yeah, that's another one you can file under, hey, we didn't want anybody talking about that.
Right. So that's weird. So GameStop CEO Paul Raines hints that Sony Project will launch this fall. So it's a GameStop game, or no, so they're just hinting that that's when PlayStation VR is coming out.
They're hinting that that's when it's gonna. It was another one of those things. It's like and so when PlayStation's VR comes out later on this fall, we're gonna be happy to work with them with that. It was like, whoa, hold on, what'd you just say?
Yeah. Well, I mean, didn't we know that it was coming out this year though? They just haven't put a date on it.
I think that's kind of been expected that it's going to be this year.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm still waiting for this $600 price tag that nobody's going to pay.
Oh, it's going to be more than that, I think.
And it's going to bomb. It's absolutely going to tank.
Yeah.
If they price it that high, which, I mean, I understand the arguments for, but the biggest argument against is people are still going to look at this and see it as a peripheral. No matter how high-end or whatever it may be, they're still going to look at it like a ridiculously fancy Kinect and say, I'm not going to pay more than $200 for this. They won't. And if Sony prices it at $400, $500, it's going to be a disaster. It's going to be an absolute disaster for them.
Yeah, and see, here's the thing. I think it's going to be way more than that. That's the crazy thing. I think it's going to be the price of a computer when it comes out.
God, I know. Like, that's, I don't...
And I mean, that it's crazy to even think about, because to tell someone to pay $600 for a PlayStation years ago was absurd. People still went out, but it was an entirely new console. That much, $600 for a peripheral? You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
You're only going to get a niche community, a rich niche community that goes out there. No child's going to have this. No college kid's going to have this, which is kind of your core audience. The only people that are going to have this are adults that have really disposable income.
Right.
And they're not going to be your core audience because that they're not the ones that are going to go out obsessively and buy games.
Yeah.
they're the ones that, if you have that much disposable income, you're probably busy working, let's be honest. Or you're
Exactly.
just rich, like you just have mom's money, you know what I mean?
And I mean
It's weird.
that's the thing. Like, if this is another thing at E3 when they announce, if they announce this, I would even say if it was as high as 300, you're gonna hear people boo.
Well, see, no. I mean, we'll agree to disagree about that one. Let's just have a friendly wager. I think it is. I think if it's at 300, people will be happy. You're saying if it's at 300, people are not.
I
People are
think
gonna
if
boo.
it's over 200, people are
Okay.
going to be very unhappy.
I hope you're right. I hope that is. I hope it's not. I hope it is 200. That'd be two or 300. That's reasonable. That's something where someone go, okay, I could save for this.
I think 200 is acceptable. You might be able to argue for 300,
Yeah.
maybe, and that's a big maybe. But I think there is no way it goes beyond that. If they even hint at over 400, they will boo them out of the building.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. But we'll be back. We got some comics and stuff to talk about. Oh, did you see that Loot Crate is doing like a straight up game crate now?
I'm so tempted to switch.
I
So
didn't see what
tempted.
was all in it. Do they have like games in it?
I think it's like add-ons and like game themed merch.
Okay. Yeah, see, I knew it was gonna be like game themed merch, but
Yeah.
they should put some demos and stuff, and that would be cool. But anyway, again, you're listening to We Geek podcast on the N.FM. We'll be back, and we'll talk about some comics. Welcome back to We Geek podcast on the N.FM, and we got a little bit of comic book news to talk about. Then we'll hit into some random stuff, and we'll get into reviews. But DC's Rebirth. Jeff Johns tweets that upcoming event is not going to be a reboot.
Yeah, I love. Did you see the actual image?
No, what was it?
It's great. It's the same thing that he tweeted before, where it was like on the blue curtain and it said Rebirth, but underneath it in the same font it said, "Is not a reboot, was never going to be."
Right.
Yeah, you guys got busted. That's what happened.
Yep, exactly.
I don't know what this is. I think it's the rebirth of the multiverse as we used to know it.
Hmm.
That's what I think. And I know some people say, well, multiversity kind of covered that and blah blah blah. And I don't know what happened because that whole man DC just aside from Batman, I gave up on it. Like I followed everything for like the first couple dozen issues. I really did. But like I kind of fell off with Forever Evil, and then once they did that like 2 month hiatus or whatever it was when they moved, I was like, man, I couldn't get into this story. And they kept saying like, oh, it's not really important, like it's a fun love letter to the old multiverse, blah blah blah. And then when they came back, it was like, oh yeah, some of that stuff was actually kind of important. And I was like, oh my god, just no, I don't get, just I'm just gonna stick with Batman.
Right, yeah. If anything, I hope this makes it like I'm glad they're going back to number ones, honestly, because I don't know where to start. I'm like, we're the guys that should know that. You know what I mean? Like, it shouldn't bother us, but when it's bothering us, you're not getting
Yeah.
anyone else.
That's
You're not.
that's why I like when Marvel does it. They're like,
Yep.
look, we did Superior Spider-Man for 30 issues, and now we're coming back to Amazing Spider-Man #1
Yep.
instead of, Amazing Spider-Man 700 and something.
Right. Oh yeah, exactly. And it's like, even like for example the Robins, like Robins #8. What? So I got to read the 8 comics. When you get to like 13, then it's like nope, because that's something I want to try. I don't want to have to invest 13 issues into to try it. You know what I mean?
Right. Then you're two volumes in, and then some.
Exactly.
And it's like, that's, no,
Unless you hear like spectacular things, I'm not gonna just suddenly pick it up. So yeah, exactly. I do hope it goes Superman #1, Flash #1, Green Lantern #1. I want to get into a Green Lantern book again, that kind of stuff. Batman's gonna go back to #1, and that's great. That's fantastic. I'm looking forward to it. Did you see that? They're gonna cross over the old Superman, the new 52 Super. The old Superman is gonna meet up with the new 52 Superman.
yeah. Isn't that happening like this week?
Yeah, it's called the Super League crossover or something like that.
Oh boy.
I don't know if it's happening this week, but I was reading that and I thought that was interesting. Yeah, I need to get back into DC Comics. I haven't been into it like you in a while. Um, But yeah, so was there any more comic book news?
Nothing that I saw.
Yeah, yeah, I didn't either. So, yeah, I need to get back into comics, but something needs to be interesting. But let's see, we got some other random news here. You go ahead and take it off.
Yeah. So I don't know if we talked about this at all, but they're doing a Harry Potter play,
Okay.
and it's going to continue the story. Like it's going to be kind of like an official next installment. And it's called Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. But it's a two-part play. And
Right.
everybody went, "Oh, okay, great." And then they announced that the scripts will be published in book form. So
It's a book.
there will technically be a new Harry. It won't be a new novel, but there will be a new book
Is th-
in the series, and there is a difference because of how it's structured.
this is just make a book. I
I
mean,
mean,
I get it. I would have rather if she made a novel and then made a play out of it.
yeah,
Like to me, this is a little bit too much.
why not?
I mean, yeah, why not? But just give people what they want.
They've got a theme park, man. We have we've jumped the shark on this already, and they stuck the landing. So I mean,
Well, here's the thing: why couldn't they tell another story in the Harry Potter universe? Kind of like what they're doing with the prequel thing we're getting.
well, I mean that's more or less what this is.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, why? Let's do more of that. Like, it doesn't have to be Harry Potter. It doesn't have to be about Harry Potter. Just tell a different story.
Eh,
Uh, so that focus on that. I don't know. I thought it was I thought it was weird. It was like, okay, we get the musical or the play, and then they're gonna do a script for it. They're gonna release. I don't know. Sounds odd, but I don't know. I'm not that big of a Harry Potter fan, so it doesn't really phase me. Did you see that the Monopoly game, which I have by the way, the uh, Star Wars Monopoly, um, and it's garbage.
yep.
It's like the most watered down version of Monopoly you can get. Like it doesn't even have labels for the places you land on.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah, yeah. Like you have the Hoth system, so if you get all three of them, you have the planet of Hoth. So you get like one section of Hoth. Yeah, it's like the board
Oh,
is a circle. Like it's bad. It's
see, no, no.
Yeah, but I got it just because I thought, okay, well these are going to be rare and probably on sale for. I didn't open it up, but yeah, I didn't open it up, so it's just sitting there. It's going to be stay wrapped because I thought, hey, this is something they discontinued. This is Star Wars. This is going to probably be hopefully worth a lot of money, and it's not that big of an investment. It's like $13 or something, or no, it was like 17 or whatever.
Yeah.
So who knows if one day they're like, hey, do you got that one with I don't know who they took out of it.
The
They probably just added her. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, it didn't say who or what they changed. They just showed the figure.
Well, if you go into if you're not into Monopoly, you probably have no idea, but there's different versions of them now. You have your main series, the classic, that they kind of build off of. Then they have like a more advanced one. They have one that's like a faster game, but it's like you do it with a card and
It's
stuff like that.
not electronic, but like 21st century or something. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. There's like a little bit slight different rules. There's one with like a bunch of corporations instead of it like houses. So you get like
Right.
Microsoft, you get Apple, you get that kind of stuff. Um, and then there's the ones that are more like watered down versions, and they're usually the ones that are based on franchises. The Star Wars one was like that, and I forgot what the other one was, but it was like you had four of the characters. I think it was like Toy Story or something.
Well, they did a
Um,
Pokemon one too recently.
right, but see, there are still the ones that we kind of know that in the 90s and the early 2000s where it was the straight up Monopoly game, but it was whatever genre twist you had in it. The Walking Dead just released one just kind of like that, where it's the exact same Monopoly game, but it looks like Walking Dead. Pokemon, Ninja Turtles. That I was hoping it was like that, but it wasn't.
That's too bad. Yeah, the Big Bang Theory did that, where it's just reskinned.
Right, and
Nothing's
that's
yeah,
what I want. I
exactly.
want that kind of Star Wars one, and I had one a long time ago, but and I went on eBay. It's going for like $130 now.
Well, sure.
Yeah. But yeah, so that game is, they unveiled the Ray character, and it looks like Ray. So, yeah. So I mean, we got some reviews here to talk about. Now, we didn't both me and you, we didn't finish the Star Wars book, so we're gonna push that. And I guess should we talk about next week now?
Let me go ahead and add a second book since we're gonna have 2 weeks.
Sounds good.
Because, and again, these are books I don't know what you've read or haven't read, but these are all ones that I have, and these are on my list.
Okay.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Oh, never read it.
I've never actually read it.
Okay.
So that one's. So we're gonna do that in addition to Lords of the Sith, which I did start, and I know you did too. And it's, I tell you what, it gets off to a hell of a start.
Yeah, I loved it. It's not that spoilerish or whatever, but like the first chapter, so it's just right out the gate with Vader just going nuts. I was like, this is cool, and you get a peek inside of his head, and that's what I find fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna be reading Star Wars, The Lords of the Sith, and Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which is a classic. And yeah, we'll get that in 2 weeks, and talk about it.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and talk about next week before we get into reviews.
Well, you go into it because we're taking a little bit of vacation.
Yeah. We're gonna be off next week. In terms of a new show, we're not gonna have a brand new episode next week. What I'm gonna work on and what will be posted next week, and we're gonna have to trim it because I think we did like 3 hours.
Yeah.
Was I'm gonna recut and everything the first episode of the show that we ever did.
Yes.
Before we got on the end here, we did this show for what, a good while before we got on here.
Oh yeah.
But so I'm gonna work on recutting the pilot. I gotta dig up I know I've got the original files here somewhere.
Yep.
But so I'm gonna recut that, and that's instead of just having nothing next week, we're basically just gonna have a network premiere of the unseen pilot, basically the unheard pilot,
right.
More or
the
less.
Secret origins.
There we go. Now you're talking.
Yep. So yeah, that's gonna be fun. And then in 2 weeks we'll come back and we will have a ton of news to talk about.
Oh yeah. Well,
ton of news, 2 books.
The Oscars, like that's gonna be.
Yeah.
That's gonna happen before we come back.
Yeah, exactly.
I think.
So.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's gonna be big show. And that's it. Yeah, for the next for those 2 weeks. Now, are we gonna do something about the Oscars, or is that gonna happen before we come back?
I think that happens. Because what's the 16th, next Sunday? No, we'll be back for that. It's the Sunday after. That's right. It's gonna be the Sunday after our break. Like we'll have our break, we'll have that pilot, but then the following Sunday is the Oscars. So our first show back will be after the Oscars, yeah.
So it'll be after the Oscars. So okay, so we're not going to do like our predictions. We'll be doing just talking about it.
Right.
Pretty much. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Sounds good. So yeah, so we'll get into that. Well, I'm sure we have a lot to talk about with the Oscars. I'm sure Kid Rock, Jesus. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris Rock, he's going to tear everyone a new one, and I can't wait.
I want to see, especially in light of everything going on this year.
Oh, yeah.
I hope he lays into him. I hope he really tears it up.
He's absolutely going to.
Yeah.
I can't wait. It's going to be hysterical, I think. But yeah, it's we'll be watching it, and we'll be back talking to you guys about it.
And hopefully on that episode we'll have some other news on some of the other things happening.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. We got some exciting things. Can't wait to talk about. And some collaborations and maybe some people to talk to, and we'll get into all of that later, just a tease. But yeah, man, I can't wait. But let's, we got a little bit of show left. We got a little bit of time before we do our last segment. You want to jump into a little bit of reviews? Is there anything real fast you want to talk about before we take a quick break?
Yeah, let's we'll talk about Hail Caesar.
Okay.
Because
Yeah, go ahead.
I saw this last week and we didn't, we had zero time for reviews last week.
Yeah, seriously.
But yeah, so I saw this a week-ish ago, a little more, and it is absolutely a love letter to the quote unquote golden age of cinema.
Oh, nice.
Back when it was the movies and every or the movies, of course there was movies, genius, the westerns and like single stage musicals and things like that, and it really was interesting. I'm trying to figure what's the best way to talk about this without being spoilery. um it's oddly subversive.
Okay.
It's not like you look at the trailers and you think, oh well, this is such and such or this is this, and it's not. Like
Oh, okay.
when you finally find out like how the wheels are turning, it gets like it's not exactly what you expect going in, and then towards the end just gets ridiculous. Like it pulls. This is where you can see, oh, that's right, this is a Coen Brothers film, I forgot.
Right, right.
Yeah, but it was really interesting. Josh Brolin carries this thing magnificently.
Yeah.
It's mostly on his shoulders. There's a good bit, Clooney's in it for a good bit, but this is largely about Brolin's character. He's the head of the studio out here, and it's almost like it's just a really hectic day in his life, more or less. It's like
Oh, okay.
2 days in his life where it's kind of like, hey, you have to be in massive crisis management right now, and
Right.
it's fascinating. It really is, and the humor in it is great.
Oh,
Uh,
good.
but it's pretty much other than that, just definitely go see it. Definitely worth going to see. But it is at its core a love letter to the not necessarily old movies, but old Hollywood is the
Okay.
best way I'd describe it.
Yeah, that's the way it looks. How was Jonah Hill in it?
He wasn't really in it for much.
Oh no.
The
Okay.
trailer is kind of his entire part, really.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Surprise.
which was kind of sad because he was good in what he was in, but that was pretty much all he was in.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I think he'd be perfect, like in a Coen Brothers setting.
Yeah.
Going with George Clooney and whatnot. But okay, all right. Well, we're gonna take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll get into some more reviews, talk about Deadpool, and we'll see you in a minute. Thanks for listening to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. See y'all in a minute. Welcome back to We Geek Podcasts on the N.FM, and let's just get right into Deadpool. So this is all spoilers. Heads up, if you have not seen Deadpool, turn away, turn your ears away, because we're gonna talk about it. And a 3, and a 2, and a 1, and go. I loved it. What'd you think?
As fantastic from the word go. It's awesome. You watch the credits and you're like, and I love the visuals as much as the actual credits.
Oh yeah,
Because they matched them up perfectly when they're like, and God's favorite idiot, as they scroll past a copy of People with Ryan Reynolds on the cover of it. And I was like, I see what they did there.
Oh yeah, from the get-go, you realize they know the audience is smart. They want you to pay attention.
Yes.
They throw a dozen Easter eggs at you right from the beginning, and it's like, okay, we're on board, and you should be paying attention. Some of the people I saw with it, they weren't paying attention at the beginning. They didn't understand why everyone was laughing, and they were like, oh shit, the words don't say bullshit. They actually say funny things. Like, okay, we're just right out the gate.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I loved it. I mean, it was I hesitate to say this so early, but it was probably my favorite origins film for a single character in a comic book movie. I can't think of a single comic book character's origin that I enjoyed more. Spider-Man always has a soft spot in my heart. But this was just right at the whole from top to bottom. It was great. It was fun.
I loved, and the great thing is some of the best stuff in that movie was improvised.
Oh yeah, him and T.J. Miller, right?
Yeah, that whole thing, and they had to cut apparently just a ridiculous amount of that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, that's what I loved is that they didn't use the same lines they used in the trailer. It was complete. It was something about an asshole. It was complete.
Yeah,
It was just great. I think avocado was the only thing that was the same, and
yeah.
yeah, it was amazing.
I love my favorite improv line is also the greatest fourth wall break ever.
Oh
Which
yeah,
which is, guys, this is a big mansion. There's only two. I only ever see two of you here. It's almost like the studio couldn't afford another mutant,
oh yeah, yeah,
which was
absolutely.
completely improv and just hysterical.
Oh yeah, and the Patrick Stewart and the James McAvoy.
These
Yeah,
timelines are so confusing.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's so on the nose. It
Uh,
knows it knows the audience. It knew us. I really think the writers behind this, everyone behind this, was on our side. And they're like, you know what? We're gonna fucking make fun of Fox a little bit, and guess what? They're gonna make some money out of it. So just take it on the chin, Fox. And they did, and God bless them for doing that, dude. We have both been so uninterested in what Fox is has coming out.
yeah,
This was its saving grace.
and
This was.
this, if nothing else, this is going to cause them, hopefully, and this is being optimistic. It's going to cause them to rethink everything
Oh,
about what they
absolutely.
do with superhero movies.
This was the closest to comic book you could get to a character. I've never seen a comic book character look so much like the actual comic book character. Spider-Man, I guess, is probably the closest. But this is the most just not just, and I don't mean just the actual costume, but the character itself. This is to me personally the closest you're going to get to a comic book adaptation for a character. Nothing's going to come this close to the actual character. Like there's lines in it where he talks about Daredevil meeting a Sharpay. If you listen to any Ryan Reynolds interview in the last few weeks, he talks about that very comic book sent to him while he was on the set of Blade Trinity because someone was like, "Hey, you could be this guy because you got swords and you're funny. You're pretty much Daredevil." And guess what? They mention you in the comic book way before you were even Wolverine Origins. And he opened it up and he goes, "Shut the fuck up! Like this is amazing." And they put it in the movie because
Yeah.
it works, and you could tell that this was just
Do you
made
think?
of total love.
Do you think Ryan Reynolds gets by on his superior acting talent?
Exactly. And, and some of the things I wanted to
Oh
mention real
man.
fast is that this to me you could see the doors opening up for them and like Marvel and Sony. I think because for example, Bob's in the movie. Bob is a Hydra
Well,
agent.
well, now hang on here. Not in this movie, he's not.
Well, he's Bob, so they don't mention Hydra, but they snuck him in. The
Right.
the, the thing that was falling in the final scene that boat that's a helicarrier.
That's a helicarrier. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Th-
it's absolutely a helicarrier.
this is their way of going. We can't name those things, but this is sort of sharing that universe. If you want to let your imagination run wild,
Yeah.
you can connect the dots. They can't legally connect the dots for you, but I really think this is those two studios going, we might have something here. We might have something here, and I'm glad that it made as much money as it did, and hopefully it made the executives go, fucking A, let's just give them what they want. We've been pushing against it for so long, but Marvel did it and they fucking ran away with it. We can do it because that's what I think makes Deadpool work so much. Is he's so true to the comic book character. He's made with so much love and so much fun. There was not a you could tell there's probably not a negative thing that the people behind it have to say about it. Ryan's gushing all over it, saying this has been 11 years in the making for him. And you can feel it. You can really feel it in the movie. And
Yeah.
I think it was just perfect. The tease at the end, it's just so on the nose. And that's the thing. My buddies who don't like comic book movies anymore, or they're getting not don't like it, but they're getting tired of them.
Yeah.
They went and saw. I was like, go see it, just because this is for you. They know you, and this. We're right at that comic book fatigue where some people are thinking it's coming. The, this is for you,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
they
big
went and
time.
saw it. And my buddy, the whole time for a week or so before, he's like, "It just looks stupid. I don't want to." He didn't know what it was. He didn't know it was that. And then when he
Yeah.
went and saw it, he was like, "Holy shit, that was great." Oh yeah. But we had some other things to talk about. Did you have anything else you wanted to say about it?
I just go see it.
Yeah,
If you
absolutely.
haven't, go see it. If you have, go see it again.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm doing like a group chat thing this weekend where we're all gonna go see it. So
Nice.
I'm excited. Yeah, yeah. A lot of my friends still haven't seen it, and they heard everything this weekend. They were like, "Whoa!" Took a step back. Oh shit! Like, oh, this is good. I was like, I've been trying to tell you. You know what they say? You like every comic book movie. I'm like, okay, that's true, but you know, this is different. But yeah. So anyway, what do you want to get into? You want to get into Flash, Arrow, Naruto?
Sure, we'll do it that way.
No, whatever order you want to do.
That works.
Okay, so Flash, what did you think of it?
I am loving Earth 2.
Yeah,
And
it's
the swerve this week did not go where I thought it was going.
right.
Like they did the whole thing, and you're like, he's trying to say Jay Garrick. Why is he trying to say Jay Garrick? And it's like, he came with us, and then this dude lost his mind, and he's like, well, no, hold on, wait a minute, why is this guy freaking out?
Hmm.
And then I kind of thought, I was like, wait a minute, we've heard he fought Zoom, but you notice we never actually see them in the same room together. And then you got the thing at the end, and you're like, well, okay, so scratch that theory.
Right, right. That is exactly what I was
Yeah,
thinking. Is like wanted you to think one thing, and that's what I was thinking. I was like, oh God, he's got to be something to do with him, and I still think it's something to do with him, but yeah, I don't know. And who is that guy?
yeah, we still
And
don't know.
maybe I'm weird, or the TV I was watching, I couldn't tell if he was white. I couldn't tell if he was black. I couldn't tell if he was Indian. I'm trying to in my head think, who is he? Who is this guy behind the mask? I think
That's
they did a great job at making it ambiguous. You couldn't
Yeah,
really tell with the shadows and whatnot.
yeah. I'm thinking that it's Earth 2 Wally West.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, I think it's Kid Flash.
Yeah, because I was like, he looks a little bit darker. You know, he's not as pale as Barry or anything like that.
And
Uh,
let me tell you why I think that. Did you notice he was in the credits for this episode?
no, I didn't.
And did Wally ever make an appearance?
Well, isn't he a part of the show now? So he's gonna be in the
He's
credits.
I don't think he's a regular. I
Oh,
don't
I
think
thought he
so.
was this season. Man, I
Uh-uh.
guess I'm wrong. You're absolutely probably right. So
Now, maybe I'm reading way too much into this. That's entirely possible, but that's my theory. I think he's Wally. I think Earth 2 Wally West is a speedster, and that's who he is.
that's true. The mask. That's what I don't. Maybe that like conceals his ability to
It's possible.
run or something. I don't know. But yeah, I thought it was good. I thought this episode was much better than the week before. The week before was funny, had a lot of great lines,
Yeah.
but it was a little wacky. This one kind of reined it in a little bit.
Well,
Um,
because I mean, last week was a setup for this week.
and are we getting Hammerhead next week or the Shark or
King
something I
Shark.
saw?
We're
I
getting
didn't see the preview.
Yeah, we're getting King Shark. I loved when they showed him and everybody was like, oh, well, that's cool because, there's no way they could do a whole King Shark episode, so we got a little thing here. That was really neat. We're getting a whole King Shark episode next week.
That's great. Oh
Oh,
yeah.
I love the
It's
show.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. And at that end, like we talked about the hand. So what do you think of Arrow?
Arrow's been interesting. Arrow's getting intense.
Yeah,
Arrow's
it really
getting
is.
very intense, and that was another one that's like I didn't see that change coming either.
Right. Absolutely. With the Merlin's hand getting cut off.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was crazy. Absolutely
everybody's going Star Wars. Like,
crazy. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
oh,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. So tell me about this game. Oh no. Well, actually, we're out of time. So you're gonna
boo.
you're gonna have to tell me about how do you pronounce it? The whole thing.
Okay, it's Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 4
There you
because
go.
of course Japanese anything has perfectly succinct, easy to pronounce titles.
There you go. Well, again, guys, tune in next week. We will have our secret origin show, and then in 2 weeks we'll be back and we'll be talking about the Oscars and everything else in between. You can find us on Facebook, We Geek Podcast, two groups, one like, one talk. Go to our Twitter at We Geek Podcast, at Adam Estep, and at
The Logan Witt.
Oh, yep. And our email, wegeekpodcast@gmail.com. And stay tuned. Yeah, I'll be posting the Facebook thing the whole time in the next few weeks, so don't worry. And we'll see you guys all next week. So, again, you listen to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. Captain?
Captain.